Hello, hello. Hi. Oh, okay, so this lesson. So if you have the book with you, then you can turn to page 45. So you can turn to page 45. So today we will talk about the equation. Okay, so it's the equations about uniformly accelerated motion. So I hope you still remember that there are two types of motion. So the first one is the uniform motion. Okay, so do you remember what is the uniform motion? What's uniform motion? So for uniform motion, the velocity is a constant, okay? And the acceleration equals to 0. So it won't speed up or slow down during the motion, okay? So for the uniform motion, the only equations we need to know is velocity equals to the displacement over time, or the velocity equals, or the speed equals to distance over time, okay? So this is the equation for describing the uniform motion. And now we will talk about the equation for uniformly accelerated motion. Uniformly accelerated motion. Okay, so for this type of motion, we know that there is accelerations, right? So the acceleration is constant. So in the other words, the velocity is changing. Okay, since the velocity is changing, we can't use the equations on the left-hand side to find the displacement or distance, okay? So for example, for the left-hand side, when somebody is running, okay, so at 10 meters per second, since the velocity doesn't change, so we can use the velocity times, okay, so in order to find the distance or displacement, this kind of travels. However, for the uniformly accelerated motion, so if the initial velocity of this guy is 10 meters per second, and its acceleration is 2 meters per second squared. So which means it's running faster and faster and faster during this motion, right? So we can use the equations on the left-hand side to find the displacement. So we have the new set of equations for describing this motion. So there are 4 equations on page 45. So inside the yellow box, so we'll write down the 4 equations. So for this whole section, it's all about these 4 equations. And so I won't derive you the equation, and we will do it in the second semester, okay? So in the second semester, we will talk about the motion graph. Since you see that we skip sections 5.4, right? So we will cover sections 5.4 in the second semester, and we will derive you the 4 equations. Okay, so in the second semester. Now we only need to know how to use these 4 equations. So the displacement equals to 1/2 u plus v times t. So S equals to ut plus 1/2 at squared. And then v equals to u plus at. So this equation is the equations you have learned. Since you know that acceleration equals to v minus u over t, right? So if you rearrange the equation, then you will get this one, v equals to u plus at. And then the last one, v squared minus u squared equals to 2as. Okay? So today's tutorial focus on the calculations about these 4 equations. So it seems that this 4 equations is very complicated. However, what you need to know is to apply this 4 equations, okay? So apply these 4 equations, and you'll find that it's not very difficult. So now we are going to analyze these 4 equations. So first, I hope you still remember the physical meanings of those symbols, okay? So for S is the displacement, okay? So displacement is a factor. So you need to know which direction is positive and negative, okay? Or before you solve the problem, then you need to set a positive direction. And then u, what's u? What's u? What's u? What's u? Hello, hi, are you still here? Hello, anyone? I'm so lonely. What's u?
U is the initial velocity.
U is the initial velocity. V is the final velocity. Okay, so and then A is the acceleration, T is the time. Okay, so that's all. What you need to know are the physical meanings of the symbols and how to use this equation. Okay, so it's very, very easy for you to use the equation. So now we analyze the equation. So for each equation, there are 4 variables. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for every equation, there are 4 variables. Okay, so which means you need to know 3 of them and then to solve the remaining ones. Okay, so know 3 of them and then to solve the remainder one. Okay, so how to use this 4 equations? So for example, if I tell you that the V equals to 5 meters per second, U equals to 2 meters per second, and A equals to 1 meter per second square. Okay, so you need to find the time. So which equation you should use? So let's label this 4 equations. So this equation 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I give you these 3 values and then to ask you to find the time, then which equation you should use? Hello? Which equation you should use? Hi? Which equation you should use? Hello?
The third one.
The third one.
Okay, so there are 4 variables, right? So and then you need to see which 3 are the known quantities in this case and what's the unknown. Okay, so you have V, U, and A, and you need to find T. You have U, V, and A. You need to find T. So we need to use the third equation, and the calculations will be simple. V equals to U plus AT. So V is 5, U is 2, A is 1, T is T. So T is equals to 3 seconds. Okay. So in this case, the direction is not given, but both of them are positive. Okay. So that you can just assume that the right direction is positive. Okay. So it won't affect the result. So you find that the time is 3 seconds. So that's all. So although these 4 equations seem very complicated, but all you need to know is to write down the known quantity from the sections. Okay, so and then to solve the remainder one. And tutorials, do the example directly. Now turn to page 49. Now turn to page 49, and we will do checkpoint 6. Question number 1 and 2. Okay, so do it on your own first. I give you 3 minutes. Page 49, checkpoint 6, number 1 and 2. Okay, so if you don't have the book with you, then you can look at the screen. So this is the questions of checkpoint 6, question number 1. A racing motorcycle accelerates uniformly from 50 meters per second to 100 meters per second along a straight road while traveling a distance of 500 meters. Okay, so now here are 3 quantities, right? So and we need to know what are they. So it accelerates uniformly from 50 meters per second to 100 meters per second. So which means is moving from 50 meters per second to 100 meters per second. So this is the initial velocity. This is the final velocity. Okay. So in traveling a distance 500 meters. So in this case, the values of distance equals to the values of displacement. Since it's along a straight row, so this 500 meters is the displacement, okay? So how long does the acceleration take? Okay, so how long, which means we need to find the time. So this case is similar to the examples I gave you. So given that the displacement is 500 meters, the initial velocity is 50 meters per second. Final velocity is 100 meters per second, okay? So we need to find the time. We need to find the time, okay? So, and then we look at the four equations. So, yeah. So we can choose, we need to find the time, okay? So we have displacement, initial velocity, and final velocity, right? And in this case, we need to find t. So obvious that we need to use equation 1. We need to use the first equation, and then to put all the number into the equation. That should get the answer. Okay, so the answer is 6.67 seconds. So far, do you have any questions? Hello? Hello, do you have any questions? Number 3.
No.
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 Okay, so if you have no questions, then do question number 2. You may do question number 2. All right, number 19. What's your question? Number 19, where are you? What's your question?
我想答下一題嘅。
OK 啊，係點樣答啊？So you can take a picture of your work and then to send to the mailbox. You can send your answer here, and your classmates can see this. Or you can send to the whole class. Okay, so you can send them your answer to the mailbox, the public mailbox, text box. Sorry. Okay, so for those who don't have books with you, then you can look at the questions here. So now, number 19 is 子孫。你做完未㗎？ Have you
我
finished?
做完啦，但係咧影到嘅咩？
You can
應該唔得㗎噃。
or computer.
可唔可以問多一次？我聽唔到。
你而家用緊電話定電腦啊
？iPad。
then you can capture the screen and then to send it out.
OK。
And send your working. Hello? Are you okay with that? Hello? Have you sent?
Yes, I am sending. I'm sending.
Okay. I am waiting. Okay, so while she's sending the answer, so I explain to you why the acceleration is negative in this case, because the car is slowing down, right? So if we assume that the car is moving to the right-hand side, and then this car is slowing down, right? This car is slowing down, so the displacement still point to the right-hand side. And then since it's slowing down, the acceleration is pointing to the leftward, so the values will be negative. Okay, so and the final velocity will be 0. So can you understand the question? So this is the initial velocity, and then you start to brake, and after you stop, the velocity, the final velocity will be 0 because the car stops in this case. So the final velocity is 0. Initial velocity is what you need to find is displacement and acceleration. Yeah. So have you sent the answer?
佢唔俾我 send 啊，即係唔俾我 send 落 Zoom 度啦。
咁所以咁算啦，你陣間 send 去，陣間 send 去邊度？陣間再研究。誒，你可唔可以分享嘅？唔緊要，你個 answer 係咩啊？So can you tell me your answer? Tell me your answer. So what is your answer of the speed? Hello? What's your answer?
10 square root of 5.
10
Square root of 5.
Okay. So your answer is correct. So now we have the displacement, velocity. We need to find U and A. So we need to use this equation. Okay. So V squared minus U squared equals to 2AS. So V is 0. Okay. And A is supposed to be 5. Sorry. The answer is wrong. So 2A and then S. And sure get this answer. Okay. So and this answer is same to your classmate. So U equals to 10.5 meters per second. So that's all. Although you may find that the 4 equations are difficult to memorize, but the application is quite simple. Okay, so you need to list out all the known quantities and then the unknown quantity, and then choose one of the equations, and you will find the answer. Okay, but the key concept is that you need to understand the question. Okay, so if you can understand the question, then you can solve it easily. Okay, so now to go through the examples with you, and turn your book to page 48. Turn your book to page 48. So we will go to the most difficult example in this section. Page 48. Page 48. Okay, so give you 1 minute to read the questions first. Okay, so John drives at 72 kilometers per hour. So you need to convert it into meter per second, right? So how to convert kilometer per hour into meter per second? So 72 kilometer per hour. Okay, so there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer, 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. Okay, so it equals to 20 meters per second. So John is driving at 20 meters per second along the straight road. Suddenly, he sees 2 cows. Okay, so crossing the road 60 meters ahead. Okay, so it's there are 2 cows. So it's like a pig. 60 meters ahead. So he takes 0.5 seconds to react before apply the braking. Okay, so this guy takes 0.5 seconds to react, and then the car slows down at a constant rate of 5 meters per second squared. So it slows down at 5 meters per second squared. Okay, so it's slowing down, so the acceleration is negative. So for letter A, find the thinking distance. So the distance traveled by the car between seeing the car and applying the brake. Okay, so in this case, we see a new term. So thinking distance. So what is the meaning of thinking distance? So read the questions again. He takes 0.5 seconds to react before applying the brake, right? So during this 0.5 seconds, there is no deceleration because he hasn't react during this 0.5 seconds. Okay? 喺呢0.5秒之間咧，由於佢未反應過嚟，咁所以佢冇減速嘅。咁佢冇減速呢個時候咧，冇 acceleration 啊嘛，係咪？咁咧冇 acceleration， 所以咧佢係一個普通嘅 uniform motion 咯。So for a uniform motion, how to find a distance? So use the velocity times time. So just use the velocity times time. So the thinking distance is 10 meters. So are you okay with that? So the concept is that during the first 0.5 seconds, so this guy hasn't react, and then this is uniform motion. 佢未開始減速，咁所以咧就咁。So use your velocity to times the time, then you will get the thinking distance. And then for B, find the braking distance. B, find the braking distance. So which means when you start to brake, so what is the distance it travel? So this guy travel 10 meters first. Okay, so it travel 10 meters in 0.5 seconds. And then you start to apply the brake. And find the braking distance. So for the braking distance, we need to know which quantities we have. So we have initial velocity. So the initial velocity is 20 meters per second. So we have U is 20 meters per second, right? So what's the final velocity? Number 20, what's the final velocity? Are you here? Hoyan, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
What's the final velocity?
Okay.
0.
係啦，因為你停咗車之後 final velocity 係咪 0啊？ And then the acceleration is -5 meters per second squared. So you have this three known quantities, and then you need to find the braking distance. Okay, so which is the displacement? So you have U, V, A, and then you need to find S. So again, use this equation. V square minus U square equals to 2AS. So 0 minus 20 squared equals to 2 times -5 times S. So S equals to 40 meters. And C, does the car hit the car? 佢會唔會撞到隻牛牛啊？會唔會撞到隻牛牛啊？會唔會撞到隻牛啊？一開始部車喺呢度 ，OK？ So there are it's 60 meters apart, right? So and this guy used 10 meters to react. So for the 0.5 seconds, it doesn't apply the brake. So it takes 10 meters to react. And after 10 meters or after 0.5 seconds, it starts to brake series decelerations, right? So it takes another 40 meters to stop the car. So in total, before the car stops, it travels 50 meters. Before the car stops, it travels 50 meters. And the car originally is 60 meters apart, so it won't hit the car. Okay, so the thinking distance, so it's 10 meters. So the thinking distance is 10 meters. The braking distance, so after 10 meters, it starts to brake, right? So apply the equations. We learned v squared equals to u squared. V squared minus u squared plus, equals to 2as. So you find that s equals to 40. So now the stopping distance is braking distance plus thinking distance. So altogether, it takes 50 meters to stop it, so it won't hit the car. So do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? 有冇問題啊？
No.
我哋呢堂係幾點落堂嘅？唔記得咗添 ，sorry。幾點落堂啊？有冇人可以答我啊
？15點15分。
3個字，唔係5個。
So we still have 10 minutes. Then you can do some exercise. So turn your book to page 50. Turn your book to page 50. Do question number 6 and 8. Page 50. Do question number 6 and 8. Right. Yeah, okay. I saw all of you are here now. So, is anyone, does anyone don't have the book with you? 有冇人冇書啊？應該唔會啦，係嘛？除咗大家翻屋企攞。Question number 6 and 8.